Welcome to Mastering the Timeline. In this video, we're just going to take you through. By the end of it, you're going to be a master of the timeline. So let's get into it. Alright, here is what we are going to cover. So the timeline basics. Dragging and dropping media onto the timeline and arranging clips to build your sequences. Use tracks effectively to manage video, audio, and effects. Navigating the timeline. So zooming in and out on the timeline. To edit with precision, use markers to flag key moments and stay organized. So using the selection, razor, and zoom tools for precise editing and navigate the timeline efficiently. To master playback controls and shortcuts to speed up your workflow. Move my pretty face, and we're going to shortcut keys for navigation. So learn essential shortcuts to navigate quickly, like play, pause, and jump to marker. Customize these shortcuts to suit your editing style. Cool. All right. Now, as usual, we're going to organize your timeline. So arrange your layers neatly, editing. So use folders, bins, and proper naming to keep your media organized. So warning, this is the most important video in the entire course. Watch the entire video, don't skip, don't fast forward. You're going to miss something, and you're going to be lost. Then you're going to blame it on me, and you're going to put me at gunpoint, and you're going to kidnap my family because I messed up, and then I'm going to be very, very upset, and then, it's just going to go down a whole thing. So just don't skip, don't fast forward. If you really want to save time, because I don't want a gun in my face, because you're crazy, just watch the video in 2x speed. Saves you some time. Alright, timeline basics. Add clips to the timeline. Drag and drop media into the timeline to start building your sequence. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So by now you should be here. You should know exactly how to import stuff. And if you don't, then go watch the other video again. Oh, can you move, bruv? Move. Alright, cool, we got it. Alright, cool. So we're gonna drag and drop. So that's my music. Well, we're gonna import, which you guys know how to do, because you guys are crazy cool like that. And I'm going to import this clip here. So we got some visuals going on. And we're going to do something else as well. We're going to workspace, reset best fit save layout. Then we're going to scale my boy. Cool. Alright. So dragging and dropping into the timeline. Anything that is up here in this general area, all you got to do is click on it. Don't just hold the click, drag it down here, and put it in. Now, if you want something in between the other one, just drag it, hold it there, and you'll see a blue line appear. Wherever that blue line is where it'll drop. So if I want between these top two, I hold it so that the blue line's there, and then it is there. And if I want this one between those two, I hold it so that it's there. If I want it between these middle ones, I hold it there, and it'll drop in there. Cool. So that's how you drag and drop. Nice and simple. Alright, adjust clip order. Rearrange clips to create the desired sequence flow. Alright, rearranging clips is pretty simple. For example, if orange is my videos, lavender is... What's it doing this for? Weird. Alright, so if orange is my videos, lavender is my PNGs, blue is my song. The way I like to organize it is I like my song down the bottom, then my videos on top of the song, because I don't need to see my song, it's MP3, then my PNGs on top of the video, because they go on top of the video in the edits. So, if I know blue is my music, all I do is I click the blue one and I drag it. You got to click on the source name. You can't click over here. You click on the source name. So yeah, click on the blue one, come over to the source name, drag it down. Now I know that the videos need to go beneath the PNGs, but I don't want to sit here dragging each one individually. So I click the top one, hold shift, click the bottom one, drag them both at the same time. Again, the blue line will show up, showing you where it goes. Boom, there we are. Now they're all organized. Cool. Alright, so use multiple tracks. Separate video, audio, and effects onto different tracks for better management. So yeah, you just seen. That's exactly what I just did. So when you import files, when you import a song, import it as an MP3 file, not an MP4 file. It's just so much easier to go through it all and do it like this. It's just way, way easier. So the MP3 is down the bottom, the MP4 is there, and the PNGs are on top. Go. Trim clips. Adjust clip lengths to fit your timeline accurately. Cool. Let's say I only want the edit to be a minute long, and you see, obviously, and I only want the first minute of Sebastian's video. So if I come to the minute timeline, time mark, which is right here, which you can see here, it says 1.00 seconds, so that's a minute. And you can also see up here where the minute is. So you can even go to here, and you can adjust that. Click on it, and you press 1, and you change it to 0.0001. It'll take you right to where 1 minute is, right here. And so then what you can do is if you want to cut something to that minute length, you just click on what you want to cut. If you don't click on anything and you cut, it'll cut everything. Control Z to get rid of that. So you're going to click on exactly what you want to cut, and you press, I think it's C on your keyboards. If you want to check, go edit, keyboard shortcuts, and then split layer, and then you'll see what the shortcut is. I put it as X though, because that's closer to my fingers while I edit, and I prefer X. So click on it, click whatever your button is for splitting, and it'll split. Move it, click on it again, it'll split. Alternatively, if we go to a minute right here, and you click on the end of this, if you go to the end, it doesn't work here because you can see this clip goes further. But this one ends, which means you can go to the end, you click and hold, you can actually drag it. And if you hold shift, so you see right now, it's not grabbing. I gotta try and guess. If I hold shift, it'll actually grab it. It'll grab it and lock it exactly where my blue thing is. So it'll grab it and it'll lock it. And it'll do the same to this too. So if I'm trying to line this up with this, if I'm trying to line this blue thing up with this layer so that I can cut this layer the same length, if I hold shift and go near it, it'll jump into the exact same spot. And I can cut this top one as well. For example. Alrighty. So that's how you cut, trim, and obviously click on it, press delete, backspace. That's how you cut trim. For things that are longer, like I said, just pull this to the end. You can click on both of them. So click bottom, shift, click top, click whatever your trim is, your split layer is, and press delete, and it'll delete the afterwards ones. Alrighty. Alright, snap and lock. Enable snapping to align clips easily and lock to tracks to avoid accidental edits. Alright, so I'm pretty sure snapping is already, like, that there is called snapping, how it automatically grabs to the end. Or like, for example, it'll automatically grab to between, to see how it's not going over the rest of it, it's just grabbing to wherever the closest cut is. I'm pretty sure snapping is already an automatic feature. I think it's already added into After Effects. So I'm pretty sure we don't have to do anything with that. As long as you hold shift, it should just snap. You literally just hold shift and drag. It'll do it. And another thing as well is it'll do it with keyframes as well, lots of the stuff, but you know, we'll get into that a bit more later. Alright, cool. So snap and lock, enable snap to lock the layers. Alright, so let's say I add an invert effect to this guy right here. I come up to my effects and presets panel, and I get the invert. Move my preface out of the way right here. Invert, and I drag him on there, and I go, yep, very cool. He's inverted. The pigeon? Tweety Bird's inverted, so Sebastian. That's cool as. I don't want anything to happen to this layer at all. I want it to jump to the invert, and I don't want anyone to accidentally mess with that invert that I've got going on. So what you do is if you click on the layer, and you come over here to this little lock underneath and enable that lock, and then this one here, come over here, enable that lock. I now cannot do anything. See, I'm trying to click on it. It flashes at me. It doesn't let me do anything. I can't drag it. I can't cut it. Nothing happens. So if you've done it and you don't want anything to happen to your edit at all, or those specific clips or those specific layers, just lock them in place. Now, if I unlock them, now I can do stuff to them again. So that's a nice little useful tip. Because I can tell you, there will be a lot of times where you'll do something and it'll fuck up a clip. And you didn't even realize, and you'll come back later on and you got to remake that one clip from the start again because you actually fucked it up. I've done it so many times. So that's a good little tidbit. Alright, navigating the timeline. Zoom in and out. Use zoom controls or shortcuts to focus on specific sections. Alright, so you see how I'm doing this? So I can zoom into the frame. So this timeline up here, it says 0, 15 seconds, 30 seconds. I can zoom in, get 12, 12 and a half, 13 seconds. And I can zoom in even further and get the exact frame of each second. Now, the way I'm doing this is by holding Alt and using the scroll wheel on my mouse. You see, if I scroll in, I scroll out, it does it. If I come over here and I scroll down here, it'll go to where I'm scrolling. So wherever this mouse is positioned and you scroll, it'll do it. So if I come to the start and I scroll there, it'll go to the start. If I scroll at the end, it'll go to the end. The other way to do this is using this little top bit here. If you drag this in, it'll zoom in. And wherever this little blue line is, right here, I don't know if you can see that, that little blue line is this. So you see how it's moving with it now? So if I'm ever at here and I want to zoom in exactly where that is, I can either put my mouse there, hold Alt and scroll wheel, or I can just drag the end in like that and come to it. I prefer using Alt scroll wheel to be easy. To be honest, it's a lot easier. All right, move the playhead. Drag or click the position of the playhead to the desired point. Yeah, cool. So that's this thing that we're just messing around with, this little diamond shaped thing. You literally just drag it around. Wherever you drag it is wherever the preview will show. So right now, if I drag it to here, the frame I'm at is 18 seconds and 27 frames. That's the frame I'm seeing. So wherever I drag it to, that's where it is. And when you press space to play, such a banger song, by the way. Dun 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 dum. So whenever you press play, that's what that thing will be doing. It'll be playing the song. Bro, I'm gonna get copyright for that. No, add markers. Use markers to flag important parts of your project. Cool. If we come back out to After Effects here, let's say 15 seconds is really important. 13 seconds is really important because that's where the beat drops, which means that's where I want the clip to change. If you come up into preferences here, edit preferences. Oh no, sorry, edit keyboard shortcuts. And then you say search marker. You see find add layer markers. So I put mine to 7 because it's a random button at the top that I barely ever press. But yeah, it's a button that I never ever used before. So I enabled it to be that button because I wanted it to be a weird button that's just there. Because when I do it, I want it to be a button that I don't use, so I remember what it is. So let's say 13 seconds where the beat drops. So if I come up, if I don't select anything and I press 7, it'll add a marker to the top here. Then you can move that marker around and you can right click on it and delete this marker or go to this marker or lock this marker in place or all that sort of stuff. If we unlock it, we'll delete it right now. And if you go to delete the marker, go on. If you go to a specific clip, if you click on a clip and then you press that same button, it'll actually add that to a clip. Now, this is the problem that I've had before and I'm explaining it. So let's say this is my edit that's going on right now and I'm very happy with it. And I've got, you know, these markers were where all my cuts were. So I'm spamming 7. These were all my cuts were. But I figured I don't need this entire start of the video. So if I highlight everything, click X, and then delete the entire start of the video, I now have to move everything over to the start so that it all lines up. But guess what doesn't move? These mother freaking markers. And I don't think that you can move them all at once. So my fix around that was to actually click here. So right click here, press new, and then null object. And then that null object is what I put my stuff on. So that's what I put my markers on. And then that way, if I ever need to clip this first, you know, beginning part of this entire thing, when I drag everything over, you see now those nulls will follow, which means I can still keep everything lined up. So I don't like these ones up here. So you right click on them, delete them all. I would rather add a null layer, so something that literally does nothing, add them to that, so then I can drag it around and choose where I want it to be. Alright, lock tracks to prevent accidental edits. So we just, I just showed you that just before. You know, if you don't want something to be changed, lock it. As you can see, now I can't adjust anything on any of them. Alright, snap clips. Enable snapping to align perfect clips without gaps. I'm pretty sure snapping's already enabled. I'm in my best, aren't I? If I go to... I'm sure you guys still understood what I was doing the entire time, but this probably looks a bit more relatable for you guys. So if you hold shift and drag your cursor around, it'll snap to the end of wherever's cut or where any keyframes are. It'll snap. See? Snap, 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 snap. It'll snap. So hold shift and drag, that's how you snap. Alright, key tools and navigation. Selection tool. Use the selection tool to remove and resize clips easily. So that's literally just this tool. Selection tool. That's literally just this. It's where you do everything with. It's the mouse pointer, basically. So that's nice and easy for everyone to understand. Razor tool. Cut clips into segments with the razor tool. Razor tool is just complete and utter bullshit. It's such a crap tool. So bad. Horrible. Hate it. Useless. Delete it. I don't even know where it is in the After Effects system. The split layer keyframe. The split layer. That's what you want. Change that shortcut to a button you're going to use. I'm pretty sure it's C, but change it to X like me if you really want to. And wherever you put this this head, so for example, we can zoom in and be real precise with it to the frame. I click on that, I press X, it'll do it. With that tool, you got to like come up here, click on it, and then come back down here, then line it up exactly, and then click, and you might accidentally click over here, which means it'll cut there. With this, it's just wherever the playhead is, you press X, and it cuts. So much easier. We're trying to save a lot of time by just basically, we're trying to make all of our main tools in the range of our two hands with the mouse and the thing, so that I don't have to move my hand off my mouse or my hand off my keyboard. They stay in the same spot. Makes editing a lot faster. Zoom tool. Zoom in and out of the timeline for a better view of your edits. You know, that's what I was just showing you before. Hold down Alt, scroll wheel. It'll zoom in, it'll zoom out, and again, this top part up here. Navigation short. Use keyboard shortcuts to quickly navigate through the timeline. All right, yep. So, you know, just like I said, one of them is Alt scroll wheel. Mostly you're just going to use this. You just drag it to wherever you want. And then the snapping is kind of a navigation shortcut to be quick because you snap to where you want to go. Other than that, it's pretty quick, so you should be right with them. Playback controls. Familiarize yourself with the playback controls to preview your edits accurately. All right, so the playback controls are a little bit funny. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move my pretty face out of the way and this ugly thing out of the way. Alright, so the playback controls are these preview controls just here. So these preview controls are all your playback controls. So the shortcut to start the edit to play. No music? Alright, that sucks. Hey. I'll get copyrighted, bro. Alright, so whatever you choose this to be. So shift spacebar, number pad 0, shift pad number 0, alt number pad 0, number pad, or alt number pad. I choose spacebar because it's like a YouTube video. You press on the spacebar, it starts playing. You don't press on the spacebar. I mean, you press it again, it stops. So, you know, easy to understand. Turn on the eye, turn on the sound, turn on cache before playback. Now, cache before playback is basically it pre-buffers everything before playing it, so then you get the best possible playback. So if I turn this off, it'll just start trying to play it, and it'll be glitchy as hell, and it won't really work. But if I turn this on, you see this little green part? It'll now load it the entire way through and then start playing. Range is the work area I choose. That's wherever this is. So it'll only play wherever I line these two parts up to. So if I only line them up to here, it'll only play that part. If I line them up the entire way, it'll play everything. Play from the current time. So you can either make it play from wherever this little blue thing is, or from the start every single time. I recommend the blue thing because you don't need to watch your edits from the start every time you check if something is good. You watch it from where you made the adjustment. Frame rate, whatever the frame rate is you're using, skip 0 and resolution at 1/4. Because like I said, if the video is 4K, you don't need to edit it in 4K. It's just going to slow down your laptop, and watching it in 4K makes no difference to your editing at all. It's just the people who watch it through YouTube that need to be able to see it in that quality, not you. And put if caching, play cached frames. Alright, so basically, the reason that this is a bit of a pain in the ass is you'll see for a reason. If I press space, you see it kind of looks like nothing's happening. But you see that little red line that's going across here? That's it loading. So you need to wait for that to load so that it'll play. Now, if you don't want to wait for the rest of this to load, if you press spacebar again, it'll actually start playing, and you press it again, it'll stop. So it's basically press it once, it'll start preloading, press it again, it'll play whatever it's preloaded if it hadn't finished preloading, press it again, it'll stop. So you got 3. Right. Now, sometimes what's going to happen is it's just going to look like it's not loading. Just give it a second. Your laptop's probably just being a bit slow. Just give it a second to load, and if you see something start to happen, then yeah, you know it's loading. Cool. Back to my best. See what happens here. Go to window, go to preview. Yeah, so it's the exact same thing. Yep, so just preloads, that's how it goes. Alright, we'll go back to how you guys edit, because I know it's easier for you to understand. Okay. Shortcut keys for navigation. Learn default shortcuts. Memorize common shortcuts like pause, play, and cut. So like I just said, X is my cut, pause and play is spacebar. Bro, don't go through like a little nerd memorizing every single freaking shortcut, bro. It doesn't matter. You will learn them bit by bit as you use them. After a while, you remember that X is cut and you won't have to look at the keyboard anymore. It's like playing a game when you first sit down your laptop to play a new game and you got to learn the keybinds. You learn them like that. That's what's going to happen. All right, customize shortcuts. Adjust shortcuts to fit your personal flow. So I have adjusted my shortcuts. You only really need to do it once you start editing and halfway through if you notice you use a tool more often than the rest. So I noticed I was using cut a lot more often than I was using anything else, and the way I sit my hand on my keyboard, X is closer to, so I changed it to X because X is closer and I use cut more often than I use anything else. There is actually another really cool thing for shortcuts and keybinds. So I'll actually show you this. It's called X mouse control. If you have buttons on the side of your mouse, like I do here, Basically what I did is I chose two things inside of After Effects that I use a lot, and they were two keyframes. I made the I made the keyboard shortcut L, and then the button next to L. I forgot what it's called. So I made them those two buttons because I never press those two buttons ever. I never ever touch those two buttons. Now you may be going, if you use them a lot, why'd you make them those two buttons? So I made them those two buttons because when you download XMouse Control, you basically make it, and I'll open it up and show you guys. So you see, so my simulate, oh no, sorry, it was U. Yeah, it was U and then the button next to L. 2 away from L next to enter. So two buttons that I never ever press. So U and this button. And then I basically told my laptop that these buttons on the side of my mouse here, that's U, and this is that button. So that means now that because of this app, my laptop thinks whenever I click those two buttons on the side of my mouse that I'm pressing U or that button, which means even though those are two buttons I never press, these are two buttons that my thumb is centimeters away from. So I click it, my laptop thinks I click U, and it does what I want instantly. It's a nice quick way. If you've got buttons on the side of your mouse, I recommend you do it because it's a game changer. Okay. Use marker shortcuts. Set markers quickly with dedicated shortcuts. I never do that. I think it's kind of pointless. I forgot why marker shortcut. Yeah, nah, not really necessary. I mean, you just put your markers. You know, my marker shortcut's 7, you know, 7. Just go into the keyframes, the keyboard shortcuts and figure out what your button is. Change it if you want to, it doesn't matter. Alright, navigate tracks. Use shortcuts to jump between clips or tracks effectively. Just hold down shift and drag and it'll snap to the beginning of whatever one you want. Alright, practice regularly. Incorporate shortcuts into daily editing to build muscle memory. Yes, please do this, I swear to God. Alright. If you use to split that whatever you chose, just load in a video and then just edit it, making yourself press X. After 2 or 3 times, you'll start automatically pressing X. I swear to God, keyboard shortcuts are the one thing that if you could speed up your workflow, it would be that I would make you learn. If there's one thing that I hope you got out of this video, is that you learn how to do these keyboard shortcuts because they're just so much faster. Just sit down for a second and learn which keys do what. Because using your mouse, pressing this tool, and then cutting, pressing the zoom, then zooming in, then getting the cut tool again to cut again, so boring. When I could have just cut, scroll wheeled, cut again, and I would have been done. It's just so much easier to use these. So, and also if you're a beginner, it's good because that means that you already don't know what you're doing, which means you don't even have to retrain yourself because retraining is harder than training. You just have to train yourself. No retraining, just training. A lot easier. All right, organizing your timeline. Name the layers. Rename your layers descriptively to keep track of elements in your timeline. Alright, so down here, for example, it says Sebastian Twitter PNGs, and it says just UT1 US. Now, that's kind of shit naming, so what you do is you just click on it, right-click, rename. So, music. Click. You can actually, I think you can rename 2 things at once. Nah, you can't. Alright, cool. Click, right-click, rename, video 1. Click, rename, video 2, and you get the idea. Just right-click, click on rename them to what they are so that you understand better. Alright, group meter. Use folders and bins to organize clips, audios, and images. Alright, so we're going back up to the top left here. Move my pretty face. Alright, so in here, if we import stuff, which you know how to do now, because you guys are absolutely mad lads. And we import this, and we got 17 of these, and we import my PNGs, my Twitter PNGs, and we've got 20 of those, and we got my song that we've got heaps of solids, blah blah blah. You know, it's just there's crap everywhere. It's, you know, it's hard to understand what's going on. Yeah, break out of it, dumbass. You know, there's crap everywhere. We imported our music, and you know we got like 20 different songs, and there's just stuff absolutely everywhere, and you're like, oh my God, how do I deal with this? Cool. There's down here. It's called a folder. Click it. Name it. Music. Guess what you're going to do? You're just going to select everything that's music. So click the bottom one, scroll up, hold shift, click the top one. It'll select everything in between. And then drag that into music. Now everything is in that folder. Great. Cool. We got heaps of Twitter PNGs. Click here. PNG. click the top one, hold shift, click the bottom one, drag it all into PNG. Now we got heaps of Sebastians, but we got Sebastian and then Sebastian's numbered. So if we go new folder and we go Seb number, now we only want the ones that are numbered. Now let's say these are all mixed up. You'd click it, right? And you click control, and then you can individually select what you want to drag. So shift is clicking the bottom one, shift, click the top, it'll select everything in between. Holding control will allow you to just select 2 that you want. Alright, and so that's how you do that. Now, for example, all these solids, there's heaps of them. Drag them into solids, now they'll all be inside there. A lot easier. And now it's all sorted. Nice and easy. Cool. Alright. Lock unused layers. Yep, so we did that. Color code, assign layers to colors to quickly identify the types of media. Alright, this is something you guys will have to get used to and learn, but it's fine. So I'll show you. So I'll pull in the music. I'll pull in a PNG. I'll pull in a null. And then I will pull in a video. Now, one thing you're gonna notice is they're all 4 different colors. That is for a reason that I have set. So if you come here, you can see all these colors right here. If you click on them and then click edit label colors, you can choose what does what. So if you import an MP4 file, you can choose to make it a certain color. If you import an MP3 file, you can choose to make it a certain color. So every time an MP3 file comes in, it will be that color. I've chosen MP4 is orange, MP3 is blue, PNGs are gray, nulls are nothing. So as you can see right here. So videos, orange, audio, blue, nulls, red, for example, or still lavender. And so every time you import it, it'll be those colors, and you'll start to learn what those colors are as you edit, and you'll start to know that my orange is always my video. And so that when you have, 30 videos and heaps of music, and they're all mixed up like this, and the Twitter PNGs in there as well, you can go, all right, I know these orange ones are all my videos, so I'm going to click it, hold control, click everything that's orange, and then I'm going to drag them down to here, and now they're all together. And I know that these are my music, and I want them to be with the rest of my music, so I'm going to click them all, and I'm going to drag them up here. And I know these 2 aren't really necessary, so I'm going to click them both, drag them down here. And now everything's sorted. That's what the color's there for, so you can adjust them as you want. Alright, delete unused media. This is one of my favorite things. Oh my god. I can't even tell you guys how big of a find this was. Alright, so if this is everything in my edit, but I've got heaps of shit up here that's just taking up heaps of space, and it's so annoying. It's annoying as hell. There's so much crap. What you do is you just click on File, Dependencies, Remove Unused Footage. 64 things were deleted. That is literally crazy. So everything that's not on this main will be deleted out of here. So then you don't have to worry about slowing down your laptop anymore. Cool as. And it won't mess with your edit at all. If there's anything that's in your edit at all, it won't get deleted. So don't worry about that. Alright, so summary. I want to do that. Alright, timeline basics. Build your sequence by arranging clips on the timeline and using multiple tracks to organize video, audio, and effects. Keep your edits precise by trimming and snapping clips into place. Alright, now we're going to navigating the timeline. So zoom, snap, and lock tracks to manage clips effectively. Use markers to organize your timeline and position the playhead for precise editing. Key tools and navigation. So master the selection, razor, and zoom tools for precise editing. Use shortcuts to navigate the timeline and familiarize yourself with playback controls for smooth previews. Then shortcut keys for navigation. Learn to customize essential shortcuts to speed up navigation like play, pause, and markers. Practice regularly to integrate them into your workflow. And then organizing your timeline. So keep your timeline clean by naming layers, grouping media, using color codes, and locking unused layers for efficient workflow management. Cool. So if any of that was confusing, because I suck at presenting, there is a quick cheat sheet down below that you guys can use. It's got everything button by button, step by step, that you can use to learn everything that I just said. So if I didn't do a good job, go check out that cheat sheet because it'll tell you everything. All right, I'll see you in